Hello everybody, learner driver R. Hansen here, and I recently managed to pass my driving theory test. So I thought, why not make use of this fact and create a little video on tips for how to pass your driving theory test first time, or second time if you failed the first one, or third if you failed the first two, and so on, because obviously you're only going to pass the one you pass. So to pass the driving theory test, whenever you pass it, just pass it. I mean, obviously nobody's ever done this before, so I think it's very useful of me to sort of do this, and create a video for you. So yeah. Alright, let's get started. So I use the official DVSA Theory app, which you can download on, any app store or whatever. And I think it's decent, it works, it has the information there, and that's what you need. So let's start with the multiple choice, the first half, what I think is as the main part of the test. So you're going to want to go on the app and you're going to want to click multiple choice. I can't remember the exact name. You're going to want to click on not the hazard perception test. And then you're going to get the option to study, practice, or do a mock test. You're going to want to start by studying and you want to go through all the topics. I know it's incredibly boring and there's a decent amount, but there's not really any way around it. You're going to have to do all those. And once you've read through every single one, after doing each topic, it will ask you if you want to do a test on it. I would say do a test on it, and then you can sort of go over the knowledge that you've just learned, which is useful because you need to learn it to pass, which is why you're here, I assume. What I would advise you to do is once you have finished all of the topics and tested yourself, go back through, click all of them, test yourself on all of the ones that you got wrong. Don't do them all again. You'll be there for like 2 years. And let's be honest, you want to do it sooner than that. So go through, do them all again until you have got everything right, which will be a big help. Obviously, there are other apps available. For example, you can get the James May's Theory app thing, which I'm sure is much more fun than one I used. His is made by fun people and himself, whereas mine was probably made by people with the personality of a grey drywall, but that's not the point. They both do have the information and you can pick whichever you want. I mean, there's tons of apps out there. Have a look at the reviews, pick what you want. There's probably some free ones too. The one I used cost £5. I think most of them will. And you do know that if you're buying them, they're probably going to be decent quality. But check reviews, check stars, stuff like that. And then hopefully you'll be okay. Once you have gone through every topic and got everything 100%ed, I would advise you then start doing mock tests. Now these are less than fun, to be honest, but they say they take about 50 minutes. They don't. They really don't. You can probably do it in 10. You can probably do it in 5 if you're a proper big brainer. So do those. What you're going to want to do is you want to do lots of these because each time they should vary the questions, theoretically. So you should have a good wide range of stuff by the time you've done them all. Go over the wrong answers as usual, and then also do them consistently until you pass consistently. That's according to the DVSA Schlub. So this is a very good advice from me, or from them, but I'm saying it. So I will say that my app, I didn't feel like the mock test questions were actually always that varied. I felt like I got a good solid amount of the same questions and then like a few varied. So my advice would be to either get other apps, probably free, you don't want to spend too much money, or go on the internet and look up other mock tests and do them there as well, because then you should have a good variety of stuff, diversify, and then you should be able to do whatever the test throws at you. I also found that I got slightly less marks on the official, like the actual test, than the practice mock tests. So maybe it's a little bit harder. It might have just been the conditions, or it might have been slightly changed, but I would say continue doing those until you have passed nicely each time. Full marks. You can strive for the best. I believe in you. A pass is 43 out of 50. So the tip I do have for you now is drive before you do it. I had driven for a while before I get my theory test because of lockdowns. I had 2 which fell on lockdowns because of Mr. BJ, so that was annoying, but it did mean that by the time I did it I was ready, thankfully. But I think if you have driven before, you have a good feeling for road signs, for roads, for tractors. I'm not sure, I just quite like tractors, and I think that would be quite helpful. So if you can, it's not going to be possible for everybody, because if you're still 16, you like book on your 17th birthday, it's going to be an issue. But if you can, drive first. I think that will be very beneficial to you. I think that's basically it for the multiple choice questions. Basically just practice loads and you can't go wrong. Well, I mean, you can go wrong. You can get a question wrong, get lots of questions wrong and then fail. But let's focus on the positives here, okay? You're going to do great. I believe in you. Does it look weird? Probably. It's my face. Alright, on to the hazard perception test. Now I won't lie, I didn't do so great on the hazard perception test, especially in comparison to the other one. But of course, I still have some tips and tricks up my sleeve, metaphorically speaking. Again, the gigantest tip that I can give you is to drive beforehand, especially for this one, because the basic concept of the test is a little video from the perspective of a car, probably like a car from Cars that have eyes, because mine don't. But you have to watch this video and you have to tap the screen whenever there's a hazard. And there's a weird counting down-y system, like 5 points, 4 points, 3, you get the point. But if you have driven beforehand, that's going to really help you. You're going to have an idea of what's happening on the road around you, and you just have a better headspace for it. And I do think that would help, especially for this one. So I do advise that. Again, it might not be possible, and you don't need it, but to help you, I think that's a good idea. So yes, drive an automobile. The next is quite obvious, but just practice. There'll be lots of different videos available for you on your app. You can get a separate app. You can get separate apps for it, but I didn't. The one on my app had like an extra section of hazard perception videos, so you can just use those and you don't have to spend any more money then. But just practice. Do as many as you can. Do them a few times. Then you'll be really well done. I actually sound like a teacher. This is awful. Oh dear. Anyway, now I didn't do great in it. I passed, but I didn't do well particularly, which may make you wonder how qualified I am for this, but look, I did pass, so that's something, right? I mean, and like I said, hindsight. But my point is that I think I know roughly why I didn't do particularly amazingly. One is that I didn't actually do all of the hazard like practice videos on my app. You had to like download them separately, and I kept forgetting, so I just didn't. I did like half of them, maybe a bit more, I'm not sure, but I would say do them all. And do them all more than once, because why not? It's going to help and you'll learn stuff. The next thing is that whilst I was doing it, it does go on a bit. It does drag like a maths lesson. So just try and concentrate throughout the whole thing. I started not concentrating when I got towards the end, and I started doing commentary in my head to entertain myself. Don't do that. It's not a good idea. Just don't do that. See if you can concentrate throughout, and then it's worth it. It's only like 20 minutes, you know, and if you pass, you pass, don't do it again. And the next tip that I can have is make sure you know exactly how the scoring system works. It has this weird county down timer thing, and it can be difficult sometimes because sometimes you can press it too early, which seems stupid to me because if I break in time and I definitely don't hit the child opposed to slightly nicking the child, I think I've done better, but they must disagree. So, you know, make sure you study it beforehand as well and learn how it works so you can maximize your scoring. I'd say that is pretty much it for the hazard perception test. It basically always just comes down to practicing and doing it. And do remember that you can do your test a few times. If you fail once or twice or however many times, it's not the end of the world. It doesn't really matter. Just try and get it done as soon as you can, I would say. Now, I'm not quite done yet, however, because after you've finished the test and all the official stuff, it will ask you, do you want to help us out by doing some extra tests so that we can test the tests and see if they're good for the new thing? Don't do them. Please don't do them. I did them and I thought it would be short, but it wouldn't. It was like 3 or 4 more hazard perception videos just in a slightly busier place like London or Dubai. It wouldn't have been Dubai, would it? But there's no point really. You're helping them. So if you're a saint and you're a very good-hearted person, then you can do them. Go ahead. But they do take up a bit of your time, so I wouldn't really bother. Obviously, it doesn't matter if you do. It doesn't affect your score either way. But either way, the test is now done, and congratulations, you have passed. Theoretically. I don't actually know if you've passed or not, but I like to think you have, and I believe in you. So go out there and book the test. Oh, and if you haven't booked a test yet, book it really as soon as you can, right? Get that provisional license and get it, because they take a while to book a theory test. And since passing my theory test a few months back, I still haven't been able to book a practical test. Still, I just can't find one. So please, the second you've done it, get onto it and try and book one. Because even if you think you won't be ready, you can maybe make yourself ready, or maybe you get it swapped out. But just once you've got them one booked, you can get it brought closer if you can find a cancellation, or you can get it further if you decide you're not ready. But either way, please book the test, because I feel for you. There's a lot. It's really, really hard to get a test, which is a shame because I really want to drive. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope I've been helpful. Probably haven't really. I'm not really probably qualified actually to do this. So maybe go and watch some other videos of people who are like driving instructors, or like just do the apps. That's what I did. Yeah. Anyway, hope you're well. Have a good day, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.